beach before? Yes, obviously. No?
Yeah.
I remember the way to conquer waves, unless it's not that big, it's either you swim through under it or you go over it, right?
Yeah.
But if you just let it hit you, it's just gonna take you back. And I remember that happened to me. I like rolled back all the way, and then I almost lost my like shorts. It was crazy. Alright, so basically I have a testimony. You guys know me. I'm very like...
Coy.
Basically that's the definition. I'm very like happy all the time, but I show that I'm happy, or like, you know, what's that, like goofy, silly?
Yeah.
Basically coy.
Yeah, basically coy. It just says, even in my job, they're like, Coy, why are you so like that? I'm like, I don't know. And then, but like, even if I'm like that, I go through so many stuff, you know? Issues like not going to school, family, laziness, and like, you know, some self issues also. But you know, I can't stand here and say everything's gonna be perfect. I can't stand here and say, oh, everything's gonna be all right, everything's gonna be smooth, everything's gonna be calm. You know what I mean? So I asked God yesterday. I said, so why do we have all these problems that come in our lives? You know, and all these trials and all these waves and all these storms come in, and it's even like, you know, I forget, you know, about like my faith and stuff. But then God spoke to me and he said, throughout all the problems, the trials, the issues, the waves, the storms, I want you to keep your eyes on me. Not the waves, not the problems, not the storms, but on me. And because he will help you through it, through that wave. So, see, when Peter took his eyes off of Jesus, that's when he started to sink. And we can all confess that happens to us all the time. Like, once God grants us with what we want, our focus becomes on not even Jesus anymore. It becomes on, okay, I have this, so that's what I'm gonna focus on, you know? And yeah, so when problems come, the problem seems greater than God. And that is our mentality as humans. We lose sight of Jesus, that we look to the problem instead of the problem solver. So it's not that Peter had no faith at all. It's just at the moment that he saw the wave, that's when his faith just stopped. It didn't say, you know, Peter didn't have faith at all. But Jesus said he had little faith. Why did he have little faith, and why did he doubt? And I believe that God sends us into these storms not to torture us, but to strengthen us, to strengthen our faith in him. There's a video I remember seeing that, you know, I'm not sure, it was the guy that was being chiseled. That was a cool video. He was like, ow, it hurts and all that stuff. But you know, God was just shaping him up. God was just fixing him. It might hurt, it will hurt, but you know, there's a better purpose, there's a better reason why God is doing that for you. And just because it's hard doesn't mean that it's God's will for you to give up. Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Amen.
So, I have a question for you guys. Who here goes to the gym? I know I don't. The only workout I do is this, lifting up the squat. See, we got Armando, Andre, Caesar, Melissa, Pastor, Rox.
Carlo.
That's everyone that goes to the gym?
Carlo.
Carlo. Seriously, you don't?
Go to the gym.
I don't even go to the gym. So basically, when you go to the gym, you can't expect one time going to the gym you get a six-pack. I wish, oh my gosh, if that was the case, what? One visit to the gym, a six-pack? It's like this, and then you're like, oh! But nah, that's not the case. You gotta constantly go to the gym, even though I don't go to the gym. But that's an example. Oh, Armando. And like, it takes time, right? When working out for you to gain muscles, to be stronger. That's why, same thing with faith. When God, you know, gives you a trial, a problem, it's basically like working out. You gotta like focus, you gotta be patient, you gotta be, you know, strong. Yeah. Alright. So, that was point 2. All right, the last point. 3 is, so let me see if you guys remember. What was the first one?
Fear.
Facing the fear. The second one, when faith fails. And the last one is focusing on Him. Right. See, Peter could have kept his focus on Jesus and not sink. But that isn't the point. The point is God knows us despite of our weaknesses, despite of our strength. If we lose our faith, what our sin is. Sorry, I'm like burping. Like every time I'm saying that, I'm like... but I believe that Jesus is walking on the waves of your lives tonight. And all that He wants is for us to cry out to Him. Because as you can see back in the verse, it says, but when He saw the strong wind and the waves, He was terrified and began to sink. "Save me, Lord," he shouted. And Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. You have so little faith. Do you see that word, immediately? It, like our pastor says, suddenly. That's his word. Like, it's like, you know, like, immediately. Yeah. But like, it wasn't like, it's like, God didn't take His time. God didn't like, let me just watch you drown. Or like, oh my gosh. Even Peter is like, so like, I could do this, blah, blah. Jesus didn't take His time. Jesus wasn't like, just softly pick them up. No. But like, immediately He was like, picked them up. And yeah. It's easy to focus and recognize God when there is no storm in your lives and when the waves are calm. But can you recognize His voice when you can't see His face? Can you recognize His voice through the storm, the noise? I want you guys to really know that. Can you recognize His voice when your problems are too loud? Or do you guys focus on the noise? And then, like, I'm picturing it right now. Jesus just like waving. But then you're like, no, there's so much noise, I can't, And verse 31, like I said, it says, immediately God reached out and grabbed him. It didn't, like I said, it didn't say He took His time. He wasn't slow about it. And I was laughing to myself, like, because, like I said, I was picturing, I think Jesus was funny. Like, that's how I pictured Jesus. I think Jesus was like humorous. Like, I would have been, like, if I saw Peter, like, I was like, okay, you could walk on water, you want to step out the boat. I was like, and then when He saw him, I think Jesus was like, yo, bro, for real? Like, you're drowning and you doubt me? I'm walking on water. How did you doubt me? So I don't know. That's just me. And like but the grace of God is just amazing. Amen. He didn't even calm the storm yet, but throughout the storm, He still picked him up. He didn't calm the storm and made everything easy or comfortable, because that's not how it works. Sometimes we do have to go through storms. Not sometimes, but we do go through storms. And it's not because God is punishing us, but like I said, God is strengthening us. Sometimes when we need help or when we are drowning, our first priority is not God. Honestly, our first priority becomes friends. When we need help, we go to friends right away. For girlfriends, boyfriends, family, even family, pets. Pets. But you know what I'm talking about. And sometimes we ask someone to help us. The people that we ask to help us is very limited. You know what I mean? Instead of God. Come on, who created the universe? So we want someone's help that is very limited with their love, limited with helping with, because why would you want someone else's help when sometimes they can't even help themselves? And then you have this God who created you. You have this God, who formed you. You have this God who knows everything about you. So sometimes, even me, honestly, I have to learn that God should be number one. Even before, if there is a before number one, that's good. That should be God before you even think it. And this passage is very simple. It's nothing too deep or too hard to understand. And I believe that this passage is not about Peter, but walking on the water and, almost dying. But I believe that this passage is about God's grace, God's compassion, and God's love for us. And, we need to know that God is greater than our problems that we face. His grace is greater than the failures that happen in our lives. His grace is greater than the issues, the screw-ups, It's all about His love. Amen.
Amen.
Alright, I just want to show you a quick video just about, how big God is, how great He is. Because sometimes we forget who God is and what He is capable of, Sometimes we need to see to believe, but that's not how faith works, So, right?
Don't sink, Liz.
Now, we are here tonight to worship a huge, massive God of grace and glory. The story opens like this, in case you forgot. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and He said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And that was a phenomenal moment when that happened, because light came out of the mouth of God, traveling 186,000 miles a second. There's an image of it for you, by the way. It's a little more fierce than we often think. It's 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit on the surface, but what I want you to see about it is how big it is. It's 93 million miles away, so when you're looking up in the sky, it's pretty good pace out there. By the way, light traveling 186,000 miles a second, it's only taken 8 minutes to cover that 93 million mile journey to touch your skin.